Good afternoon and welcome to Lunch Break with the Rabbi. Today is Tuesday. The 24th of November, the 8th of Kislev. Today's class will be dedicated in memory of my dear grandmother, Tzivya Bas Michoel, who is her yahrzeit today. So we are going to dedicate the learning today in her memory. Last week, when we finished off with our last part of Fascinating Facts, we were continuing in the life cycles of the human being. And today we're going to conclude that section of life cycles. We continue discussing the concept of marriage, the obligation of marriage, the obligation of the male to procreate versus the female and the reasons in it. We explained that the reasons why the male was obligated to procreate because God did not want to. One opinion was because we cannot force or command somebody to do something which would put their life in danger, as childbirth for many can be a danger, as well as because a woman has the natural inkling to being child rearing, therefore did not need the commandment for it. Today we move on to the next part of life cycles, which brings us to the passage of life. The passing of life. Jewish law tells us that the human being is compared to a Torah scroll. Just like a Torah scroll, the parchment, the ink, seemingly seem insignificant, but the very fact that they hold the letters of the Torah, the scroll itself becomes something of holy. Even if one letter is missing from the scroll, the entire Torah scroll becomes invalid. The Torah scroll gives us the ability to study and to learn from the Torah. Even though it may seem like a materialistic and physical item, so too our bodies are a Torah scroll. Meaning, though our bodies are physical, they still give and are a vessel to the spiritual soul that's in it. And for the lifetime of the human being, while the human being is alive, the body is what sustains the soul and gives it the ability to achieve its accomplishments and do the mitzvot, the commandments, and create that connectivity to God. The Zohar tells us that while the soul was on high, basking in the glory of God before it came down into this world, the soul is reluctant to come down to this world. It is only after the convincing and the forcing and the coercion that the soul is forced to come down to this world and to live in a body, in the confines of a body, being limited to the physicality and the materialistic, selfish body. But without the body, the soul would not be able to do any of its accomplishments. And because the soul was in the body for that extended amount of time, the soul now has the ability to go to greater heights than it was initially. So when we talk about the body being the cavity, not only the cavity of the soul, but the hands and feet of the soul extending its ability to accomplish its tasks and its mission of what it needs to do in this world. So the body plays a very significant, not only significant, but important role in the soul accomplishing its mission. For this reason, Judaism frowns upon cremation. Cremation is a destruction of the body, is hurtful to the soul, and destroys every living part of what the soul's connectivity is to the human consciousness and its activities in this world. It is for this reason that also the body is dealt with utmost respect upon passing. For example, it is guarded from the moment the soul leaves the body. There's a mitzvah, there's a custom to guard the body, to be with it at all times, not to leave it alone. As well as the mourning period that begins with the burial of the body is because of its absolute and resolute connection to this physical world. The soul, though it continues to be able to continue to go up and inspire and be there, however, the responsibility to mourn of those that have passed, of those that are still alive, mourning the relatives of mourning the passing of the one that passed, is an important obligation. To the extent that there's differences in the actual mourning, it's an interesting thing, and here are a few tidbits of fascinating facts. Number one, when it comes to the kriya that they tear a garment to show that they're upset and that they're mourning, They tear it on their left side if they're a child, on the right side if they're a sibling. All blood relatives have to do this tearing. It's called kriya. But a child, to show that it's closer to their heart, they would tear on the left side. As well as you know that the mirrors are covered in the mourner's home during the Shiva period. Some want to suggest that it's because, not to show off, that usually a mirror is there to be able to see your own gratification and beautify yourself. But more importantly, it is because a mirror is a self-reflection of oneself, who's the image of God. And unfortunately, the image of God has been taken away from this person as the body of this individual has been taken from us. But our sages tell us a very interesting thing, that when a person is there by morning and sitting in the Shiva home, there's a special saying that is said to the individual who is sitting in Shiva, which is, Hamokim Yenachem Eschem B'soich Sha'ar Velitzin of Yerushalayim, may God comfort you amongst the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. Why this? Why amongst the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem? Why are you asking God to comfort them? And the Lubavitcher Rebbe explains very carefully that this is a particular phrase because it teaches us the importance of the body over the soul. Just like there was the Holy Temple in Jerusalem that was destroyed 2,000 years ago by the Romans. But that Holy Temple, though the building has been destroyed, but the aura, the holiness of the temple continues to be here till today, so too, the building, the body of this individual, the cavity that held the soul, may have been passed on, but their aura, their light, the spirituality, their actions, their good deeds that they have done continues to be and continues to shine. And he goes a step further. Just like the temple that was then destroyed will be rebuilt with the coming of Mashiach, so too this body will be reunited and resurrected with its soul with the coming of Mashiach. So when we are in essence telling the individual who is sitting Shiva that your grief is not a private one, but a communal one. You're mourning in the passing of a person who passed, that even though maybe a body may say, what's a body? A physical human of flesh and blood. It comes and goes. But Judaism teaches us, no, the body of the person is so important. It is just like a holy temple. For that reason, the mitzvah to escort a person who's deceased to his final resting place is a great mitzvah. The mitzvah of consoling those that have passed, that are mourning, is a great mitzvah. And everything that comes with it, the Kaddish and all that stuff that happens with it, are all part and parcel of this great mitzvah, because the body of the human being is not just merely a cavity, is not just merely a selfish piece of flesh and blood, but becomes an holy item, a conduit to be able to achieve actions and activities that the soul otherwise couldn't do. To take it even further, once the soul comes on high, the soul craves for the way that was in the body, because the soul no longer can do any of those physical activities. The soul no longer has the ability to act and do what the physical purpose of this world is all about. God created a physical world, had a craving and a desire to make this physical world a godly place. And the only one that can do that is a body and soul fused together. So this doesn't only teach us the importance of a body after its passing, but more importantly, as we here today live in this physical world, must take heed and listen that our body is so important that we have to, as we know in Code of Jewish law, you're not allowed to tell somebody to injure your body. You are not in charge of your body. You have it as a collateral that God has given you to watch over and to protect. We need to make sure that our body is healthy and well. We're even allowed to desecrate all the laws in the Torah to save our body, to make sure it's healthy. We need to be assured that our body is healthy, that it can serve God, that it can be a proper tool for the soul to accomplish its mission in this world. We need to make sure that we're healthy. We need to make sure that we are utilizing the potential that God has given us, the godly gift that God has given us of every single day, that we wake up in the morning and it recharges, as we say in the morning, Moda ani lefanecha. We thank God that he has returned our soul and our body, and he says, yes, I trust and I know that you can go another day in doing the mission that I've tasked you with. Let us take heed let us understand and appreciate our bodies and appreciate the gift that God is giving us and be thankful and appreciate for what we have and make sure to live up to the task that God believes we can do. Let us remember that every single day to make it count and make it important, because God's telling us, I created you in my image. I have given you an ability and a task that only you can accomplish. When you now make the choice, will you or won't you? Let's make the right choice. Let's do the right thing. And God willing, we'll see you again tomorrow, 1 p.m., lunch break with the Rabbi. Meanwhile, signing off, wishing you the very best, and a reminder that tonight, jewishli.com/virtual, you can watch our Zoom class or join us in person for our JLI Torah class on Yaakov and Esau, Jacob and Esau. Learn about the two brothers, what they had or did not have in common. Join us tonight at 7:30 p.m. The Zoom, call, text me or message me, or you can see it on our website what the Zoom address is to join us for tonight's class. Wishing you the very best for a wonderful day. God bless.